Hi, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I'm Marissa, or Marisa, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Both are right. And I share stories about stuff that I go through. And right now I'm dealing with some mental health things and have been sharing updates on the outpatient mental health program that I've been involved with locally because it's helping me with my accountability and healing, and because it might help somebody else out on their healing journey, just to hear positive feedback from it and how it's helping me along the way. In this video, I wanted to highlight my 4th week in the program. I had a couple of days where I was sick during week 3, so week 4 is a little jumbled, and I ended up having to extend a little bit. So the last week on my schedule wasn't the last week I'm still in the program, but it does complete the full program. I know that sounds confusing, but it makes sense in my head. So I will go through the schedule like I always do, and I will highlight some of my favorite classes that I was in and or some favorite topics that we discussed this week. On Monday, we had a class on careers and personalities and how you fit into careers that you've had or you have currently and things like that. On day 2, we had a class on emotional first aid. We saw a TED Talk from a guy named Dr. Guy Winch. And that was really fascinating and interesting, and I feel like I could do a whole entire video on just that topic, and I might even, because Dr. Guy Winch was just very informative in the TED Talk that we watched, and he makes really good points about the power of our thoughts, as well as how our psychological and emotional health can be manifested and triggered in physical ways. And that, in my opinion, was an extremely interesting topic, and I really want to learn more about that. And then on day 3, we had a class on Actionable and Intentional Trauma and Values, and that was also an interesting class. Then on Thursday, we had Relapse Prevention, which was a really important class that we had to take, because with any struggle that you're facing or dealing with, you have to have a relapse plan, whether that's calling a person or knowing what level you get to where you need support from others and then getting that support. If you know you're getting irritated easily and you stop doing self-care daily, and that's something that you love to do, or you start chewing your lips or overeating and you start getting shaky, or you use dark humor to cope, if there's certain things that you continue doing that you know are not you or are unhealthy, what will you do instead so that you don't relapse and fall back into the same cycle that you were in before, and to pull yourself out of it, essentially? So always have a relapse prevention plan. I even had to use, and we went to the lengths as to write it out. So, and actually, I had to use it this weekend, which was incredibly satisfying, actually, because I realized that I'm building a support system that is conducive to my healing. I've gained a lot of tools and skills in the program that I can carry with me and utilize on a daily basis so that I can live healthier and be healthier for longer. And I definitely plan on continuing a health journey of physical health. So exercising and nutritional health are going to be very important on my journey, because I know that once my mental health goes south, so does my physical health, and the two are very much intertwined and related, and I have to take care of one in order to have the other thrive. So have your friends, have your support system. Shout out to Stephanie, who was here for me this weekend when I needed her after my whatever it was. I'm not going to talk about it. It's private. But thanks, girl. And then on Friday, we had expressive therapy. We did something called Zenticles, which I've never heard of, but I'd probably have done. I didn't know what name to put to it. And initially, I was not going to be a part of it. I wanted to color because I brought my own coloring supplies. But the therapist intern asked me to at least utilize the method while I was coloring. So I did, and I ended up liking the method so much that I went ahead and grabbed a pattern and created my own Zenticle piece. This is how it looks. And Zenticles is essentially using repetitive patterns. I'll read a little blurb about what it is. Zenticles aren't doodles in the same sense as the star or squiggly stick man you drew while you were on the phone. They're intricate designs built upon completing small areas of patterns at a time. Once you get the hang of it and have a few basic tentacles under your belt, let your mind wander and be as creative as possible. Invent your own patterns and see what your imagination comes up with. Try not to have a preconceived idea of what it should look like. Let your imagination move your hand, settle into a meditative state of mind, and you'll be surprised with what you can do when you're not focusing on the big picture. And there's even ways that you can create your own tentacles. I went ahead and just picked up a pattern that was the flower and drew my patterns within there. I did squiggly lines, I did little loops, hearts, clouds, or ovals, whatever they are, triangulars, lines, and then dots or circles. And I did feel like continuing to move your hand in the same direction to create the same pattern over and over again for one area was meditative. There was something really calming and relaxing about it, and that's why I in the end decided to do a tentacle picture instead of continue coloring. Benefits here, it says that it is intuitive, it's fun, it relaxes you, it leads to inspiration, teaches you patience, and inspires more creativity. And I agree with that. I do think that it did all of those things for me. So that concludes week 4 of the mental health outpatient program I've been doing here local to me. Thank you for being here on my journey with me and listening, and I hope that if you're in your own mental health journey, this helped you in some way. If not, that's totally fine too. I just feel the need to share my experience because it's important to me to know that I've been through this and that I've come out of it stronger and better, and that better days are ahead. And I always want to keep that for me. And if that happens to help someone along the way, wonderful. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate your time. I hope you will subscribe so you can hear the next one too. And I will talk to you then. Bye.